I knew from the moment I got engaged that my future mother-in-law, Diane, would be a lot. She wasn't evil exactly, just the kind of woman who couldn't stand not being in control. She had opinions about everything. What I wore, what I ate, how I decorated my apartment. So, of course, when it came to the wedding, she saw it as her personal project. At first I tried to keep the peace. I really did. When she suggested color schemes, I smiled and said I'd consider them. When she recommended vendors, I politely took notes. But every decision I made that didn't line up with her vision became a debate. She'd say things like, "Oh, you're choosing ivory? Honey that washes out fair skin." Or, "A garden ceremony? You'll regret it if it rains." It was exhausting. So I wanted to get along. My fiancé Mark adored his mom. He was the kind of man who avoided conflict at all costs, so I figured the best way to make life easier for both of us was to stay diplomatic. Then came the dress. From the moment I was little, I dreamed about what my wedding gown would look like. Simple, elegant, timeless. When I finally found it, it felt like fate. It wasn't the flashiest dress in the boutique, but when I stepped out of the fitting room, my best friend burst into tears. That's how I knew it was the one. The gown was an A-line silhouette, soft satin with delicate lace at the neckline and a small train. It made me feel beautiful, not like I was playing dress-up but like myself. When I showed Diane the photos, her reaction was lukewarm. "It's nice," she said slowly, tilting her head, "but don't you think it's a bit plain? You're only getting married once, sweetheart." "I love it," I said simply. She forced a smile. "Of course. It's your day." I should have known that smile meant trouble. A few weeks later, she invited me and Mark over for dinner. Everything seemed normal, until halfway through dessert she casually mentioned, "By the way, I stopped by the boutique yesterday. Lovely people. I told them I was your mother and wanted to confirm some details about your gown." I froze mid-bite. "You what?" She waved a hand like it was no big deal. "Relax, I didn't do anything major. I just asked if they could add a few embellishments. Some sparkle on the bodice, maybe a fuller skirt. You'll thank me when you see how it photographs." Mark laughed nervously, thinking she was joking. "I didn't. Diane," I said carefully, "you had no right to do that." She blinked, offended. "Excuse me. It's my dress. You can't just walk in and change it." Her smile vanished. "I was trying to help. You'll regret going with something so plain." "I won't," I said firmly. "And you can't talk to them again." For the rest of the evening she sulked. Mark tried to smooth things over, but the tension was thick. When we left, I told him plainly, "You need to talk to her." That was a huge boundary violation. He agreed and promised he would. But a few days later I got a call from the boutique. "Hi, this is Lisa from Belle Marie Bridal," the consultant said carefully. "I just wanted to confirm, are you okay with the alterations your mother requested?" "My mother?" I asked, my stomach dropping. "She said she was your mother," Lisa explained. "She came in again this morning with some fabric swatches. She was very insistent. I could feel my blood pressure spike. No. I absolutely do not authorize any changes. Please cancel anything she requested." Lisa sighed. "Understood. We'll freeze your file immediately." "I'm so sorry," she was very convincing. After hanging up, I saw red. That night I called Mark. "Your mom went behind my back again. She tried to alter my wedding dress. Again." He sounded shocked. "Wait, what?" "She said she was done meddling after dinner." "Well, she wasn't," I snapped. "She showed up at the boutique this morning pretending to be my mother." He was silent for a long moment before saying, "I'll handle it." But handling it meant talking to her privately and then reporting back to me that she didn't mean any harm. I was done being polite, so I called Diane myself. She picked up with a chipper, "Hi, sweetheart. I didn't waste time. Why did you go back to the boutique?" Her tone changed immediately. "I just thought the dress needed a little more flair." "Don't be ungrateful. I'm only trying to make you look your best." "By lying and pretending to be my mom?" I said, my voice trembling. "You tried to change my wedding dress without permission. That's not helping. That's controlling." She huffed. "You know what, maybe you're too sensitive for marriage. I was only trying to save you from a boring dress. That was it. You're uninvited from the next fitting," I said coldly. "And if you try to interfere again, I'll have the boutique ban anyone under your name." She gasped like I'd slapped her. "You wouldn't dare. Try me." I hung up. For a while I thought that was the end of it. The boutique confirmed no one else had tried to access my file and things seemed calm. Diane stopped making wedding suggestions, and Mark insisted she'd finally learned her lesson. I wanted to believe him. But 2 weeks before the wedding, when I went to pick up my dress, I unzipped the garment bag and froze. It wasn't my dress. The silhouette was different. The lace was heavier and there were sparkly crystals sewn across the bodice. It was still beautiful, but it wasn't my gown. My heart pounded as I turned to the saleswoman. "This isn't what I ordered." She frowned and checked the tag. "It's your name, your invoice number." She flipped through the notes on the order sheet. And then her expression shifted from confusion to dread. "It says here your mother confirmed the final design changes 2 weeks ago." I felt dizzy. "She's not my mother." The woman's face went pale. "Oh my God. I'm so sorry. She came in with printed emails and everything. She said you'd asked her to approve it on your behalf. I gripped the counter trying not to lose it. Diane had actually succeeded in replacing my dress. I drove straight from the boutique to Diane's house. No warning. No text. No call. By the time I pulled into her driveway, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely take the keys out of the ignition. She opened the door all smiles as if she didn't have a clue what was coming. Sweetheart. What a surprise. Come in. Where is it? I cut her off. Her smile faltered. Where is what? My dress, Diane. My voice was low but shaking with anger. The one you stole and replaced behind my back. She blinked innocently. I don't know what you're talking about. You must be mistaken. I just came from the boutique. They showed me the final gown you approved. They have your signature on the order sheet. You lied to them. You pretended to be my mother. Again. Her expression hardened, her tone turning defensive. I was trying to save your wedding, you ungrateful girl. You were about to walk down the aisle in a plain, lifeless dress. I did you a favor. Actually laughed. A favor? You hijacked my wedding. You disrespected every boundary I set. Do you even realize how insane that is? She crossed her arms. I know what looks good on camera. You'll thank me when you see the photos. That's when I realized she genuinely believed she was right. That she owned this wedding as much as I did. I took a step closer. You had no right. None. And if that boutique can't fix what you did, you will pay every penny it costs to get my real dress back. Or have it remade. Her face reddened. You can't talk to me like that. I'm family. Not yet, I snapped. And if you keep this up, maybe not ever. I left before she could say another word. The next few days were chaos. The boutique owner personally called to apologize. They still had the original pattern, but most of the alterations Diane had forced through were irreversible. Remaking the gown from scratch would take at least 3 weeks. My wedding was in 2. For the first time since the engagement, I broke down and cried. When I told Mark, he looked stunned. She really did that? Yes. And she's pretending she didn't. He rubbed his face, silent for a long time before saying, I'll talk to her. I stared at him. No. You've talked to her enough. It's my turn now. The next morning I made some calls, to the boutique, the photographer and the wedding planner. Then I did something that surprised even me. I decided to use her interference. If Diane wanted to make the wedding about her, fine. I'd give her the spotlight, but not the way she wanted. On the day of the wedding, the tension in the air was thick enough to taste. Diane strutted in wearing a glittery champagne gown, clearly trying to match the bride. She looked triumphant, as if she was waiting to see me in the improved dress she'd forced on me. But when I walked down the aisle, every head turned, and Diane's smile slowly vanished. Because I wasn't wearing her dress. I'd gone to another designer last minute, one who pulled a miracle. She recreated my dream gown in just 10 days. Simple, elegant, exactly how I'd wanted. Diane's mouth dropped open when she saw me. She actually whispered, "That's not the dress." I smiled at her as I passed. "No, it's not." She looked furious. And then came the best part. During the reception, while everyone was settling down for dinner, the wedding planner made an announcement. "We have a short video presentation from the bride," she said cheerfully. The lights dimmed. A slideshow began. Photos of my and Mark's relationship, our memories, all leading up to the big day. But halfway through, there was a little bonus clip, courtesy of the boutique security cameras. There was Diane caught on camera, waltzing into the bridal shop, handing over fake authorization papers and demanding more sparkle. The entire room gasped. I debated including it, but part of me wanted people to see what I'd been dealing with for months. Diane's face turned ghost white. She shot me a look that could kill while Mark covered his face in disbelief. When the video ended, the crowd burst into awkward laughter, not at me but at her. I leaned over and whispered, "You wanted a dress that everyone would talk about, right? Congratulations. You got it." She didn't say a word for the rest of the night. After the wedding, Diane tried to apologize, sort of. She claimed it had all been misunderstood, that she was just trying to help. But by then the damage was done. I told her calmly, "You don't get to play Mother of the Year after trying to take over my wedding. You need to earn my trust back, and that starts with staying out of our decisions." She hasn't meddled since. Sometimes I think back on that whole mess and laugh. Because in the end, my wedding went viral. Not because of the dress she chose, but because of the way I handled it. People online called it the ultimate mother-in-law revenge. Honestly, I call it justice in lace.